Hello everyone, welcome to the third episode of my podcast or series called Tax Talk for Creators. In the first episode I spoke about when and why to hire an accountant. On my second episode I spoke about the 10 red flags you should avoid as a small business or content creator so you won't get audited for the IRS. If you haven't seen those two episodes, I'm going to leave them links at the end so you could watch them if you prefer. But this episode is also an important one because I'm going to talk about 13 deductions that you didn't know existed for small business or content creators specifically, and I think that's really interesting. Some people don't know, and there's more than 13, but I concentrated them on just 13, and I think they're going to be very helpful for you. So this is something that you are interested in, then keep on watching. One of the top questions I get asked by clients and friends is what deductions they could take advantage of, or specifically if a specific expense deduction is something that they could consider. And I like to answer those questions, and I thought, why not put in an episode, because this is a really good question. Like, there's a lot of deductions you could use, and I'm only going to talk about 13, but it's a very important because who wants to pay more taxes than they have to, right? But you also want to do things legally, so you have to keep these things in mind. But first, before I start talking about the 13 deductions, I do want to let you guys know, as I do in every episode, that I am a tax professional working for more than 20 years in this industry, but these things or data or information that I share with you is based on my own opinion, my own expertise, my own knowledge of what I've been working on here in the state of Florida. But y'all always should consider your accountant, your tax advisor in your local area, in your own state, because tax laws do change, vary from state to state, and they do change with time. So I'm going to try to keep episodes up to date with current events and all that, but always consider or consult a professional in your local area. They're going to give you the best advice for you and for your business, for your type of business, and for your your situation and in the state that you live in. So keep that in mind. And also you have to keep in mind that your business it's a business, and you should start treating it as a business, so the IRS consider it a business and not as a hobby, because those two things are taxed differently. I'll talk about that. I'll talk about passive and non-passive income in the future, not in this episode. But there are two different things: what is a business and what is a hobby. So you have to treat your business as such, so the IRS would consider it a business and treats it and taxes it as a business. So to know what the 13 deductions are, you have to know first what is an expense. And I wrote down the definition, the IRS definition, so there's no mistakes done here. And it's, according to the IRS, an expense must be a commonly used in your trade of business. It must be necessary for your business. So there's two things. It has to be common in the industry and the business, store of business that you do, and it also has to be necessary to keep your business going. So now that you know what an expense means, a deduction means, let's start with the 13 deductions, which this is why you're here, right? So let's start. Okay, the first one is equipment and peripherals. Now I'm using a camera. If you use a camera, if you use your phone to record videos, your lights, I use lights. If you are in manufacturing business, all the machines and anything that you use for your business, any peripherals, any equipment you use and necessary for your business, that is considered a deduction. Even little small things like camera lens, a microphone, a printer, all those things are deductions for your business. Number two is editing software. If you use a free version of a software to edit your videos, this is what I use a free version, then that's not an expense. But let's say you have a subscription that you maybe pay once a year, or just a one-time, or with a monthly subscription, that is a deduction for your business, because you need editing software to edit your videos and do what you do, content creating. So that's all a deduction. So number three is professional services. Let's say you hire an editor to edit your videos, your photos, a photographer, a videographer. All those are tax deductions. If you hire an accountant, a consultant, a lawyer, anything that has to do with your business, then that's also a tax deduction. Number four are website and internet services, which everybody needs internet nowadays, right? So your internet services to upload your videos, to access your emails. Also, you need Wi-Fi to have connection to the internet. You should eventually have a website. I think having a website is very important, but the cost of opening a website and keeping it is also a tax deduction. And also, if you, I didn't mention this in the one before, but if you hire a web designer, that's also a professional, that's also a deduction, so keep that in mind. Number 5, if you are a lifestyle blogger, content creator, if you're a luxury beauty content creator like I am, then the clothes and the makeup that you use, the products that you use, that you review, are tax deduction. And this one is kind of a gray area, which I might talk about it more in a future episode, but this is an important one and people didn't realize this, and I noticed that people didn't realize this because I got comments from other content creators. So let's say you buy makeup to review. And this is a really, it's kind of hard to explain, it's a gray area, but I think it's important. You have to make sure that you show that it's for review purposes. If you buy an item for your personal use, you cannot use it as a tax deduction because it's personal. And that's kind of a gray area, because if you buy a lipstick, how are you going to show that it's just for reviews and you're not going to use it for personal use? That's an area that I still have to do research on. I haven't found a lot of information about it. It's a very gray, iffy area for the IRS, I think. So just be careful what you show there. But if you buy a specific palette for review and you never use it again, or you give it away, that is a tax deduction, because you didn't get it for personal use, you got it for scientific research, you know, for review purposes. So that is a tax deduction, but I'll be very careful. And I think I would say smart about what you expense or not. If it's obvious for personal use, don't expense it. But if it's for reviews only, then yeah, expense it. A side note on this, I think it's really important because it's something that some content creators don't know, that I've actually spoken to, and they didn't know about this, and I thought it was very important. I wanted to include it. Is if you get PR or products to review for free from a brand, that is considered revenue. I'm not talking about paid collaborations, because obviously that is a revenue, that's income to you. But let's say a company gives you I don't know, a cleanser, a lipstick, a palette to review, a mascara to review, they give it to you for free. The value of that item is considered revenue. So let's say, just out of an example, I got this lipstick from Chanel, let's say, to try. I think the retail value is $45. They give it to me for free to review. $45 is considered revenue, so I have to include it as revenue in my taxes, because I got a benefit from it. I got something for free, but it has a value attached to it, so the IRS considers it a revenue. So yes, this episode is about 13 deductions to consider, but this is also very important to consider that as revenue and not ignore it, because in the case ever you get audited, that might be something that causes you trouble. So just be aware of that things that you get for free PR is considered revenue, and the way you calculate the revenue is by considering or calculating the retail value of that item. Number 6, the 6th deduction you could take into consideration are when you yourself give prizes or give gifts to other people, do giveaways. The cost of the items that you purchase to give away is also an expense. It's kind of like a marketing, advertising, promotion expense. You bought a perfume that costs you $100 and you gift it to somebody as a giveaway. That $100 is a tax deduction for you, because it's important for your business to grow your business. It's something important to keep your content creating up. If you're a beauty content creator or blogger, then it's important to do giveaways or kind of like saying thank you for your followers. That is a tax deduction, is important for your business, and it's common because many bloggers or content creators give out giveaways. So that's a deduction you could consider and take a benefit of. Okay, number 7, if you take webinars or classes to either grow your business or grow specifically what you're doing on your business. So let's say you're a content creator and you want to take a video or an online course on how to take better photos, or how to apply better makeup, or hairs, or things like that, or lifestyle or clothing. That cost of that class, that online course, is a tax deduction, because it's important for your business to grow, to keep up to date with events and with what's going on with the world. The cost of travel, of airfare, if you have to fly somewhere, you have to travel somewhere for the webinar and you have to stay in a hotel, if it's out of the state or something like that, the cost of that is also deductible. Although the webinars and online courses are separate, are continued education, but the cost of traveling, of transportation, 50% of the meals when you do those travels, that is tax deductible. So just an example, let's say you travel to a resort. Hopefully you get collaboration and they pay it for you. But let's say you go to a weekend in a hotel, and you're doing content creating for that hotel. You're taking photos and taking videos. Maybe they give you a credit on the hotel. Maybe they give you a night for free, but then you have to pay to get there. You have to pay for the flight. You have to pay for your meals. Just an example. All that is tax deductible. You could use it as expense because you are there and you are paying that because you are growing your business and you're doing content for your business. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense and not clear, let me know in the comments and I'll talk more about it in a future episode, but I think that's pretty clear enough. The way I think about it is, if I did this expense, if I did this to grow my business, it's going to help my business, I'm doing content for my business, then it's tax deductible. Now let's say you're not, number 8 deduction, let's say you're not traveling to a seminar or webinar, but you have to go to a client's office to maybe take photos or do their makeup or give them a consulting, whatever it is that your business is. The transportation, the mileage from your place of business to that person or business is tax deductible. If you had to fly out of the country, you have to fly out of state, you have to go out of state to see a client. Maybe you are an architect or interior designer and you want to go to the place where you're going to do the house, the property, or you're going to design help the owner design the place. Then those travel expenses, that transportation, the hotel stay, the 50% of the meals, that is tax deductible. And I say 50% of the meals because that's just the way the law is. It's like 50% of your business meals is tax deductible, not the other half. Number 9 is self-explanatory, cell phone expenses. Who doesn't have a cell phone? Everybody needs a cell phone. I take a lot of video and photos with my cell phone. I edit my videos sometimes with my cell phone. I do a lot of things on my cell phone. So if you use your cell phone solely for business, then you could deduct 100%. But to be fair, you use it for personal use too. So what I like to do personally is, just me, my opinion, I like to take a percentage for business and a percentage for personal. You could use 75% for business, 25% for personal, which is kind of like what I use it for. You don't use it a lot for personal, it's mostly for business. So 75% business use and 25% personal use, but that's something you need to discuss with your accountant, what is best for your business. Number 10 is office space. You might rent a specific office space for your business, a virtual office, or maybe a physical office. Maybe you have a warehouse where you keep all your products, or you have a space in your home, a home office that is dedicated just for that. The cost of that is tax deductible. And number 11 has to do with interest on any loans or investments that you made. You might not have to encounter this, but maybe you do, that you ask for a loan to buy equipment or to buy a warehouse. Something has to do with your business, you want it in advance, to just have a credit line, to have money always available. The interest that you pay on that loan is tax deductible. Number 12 are commissions or merchant fees. If you sell a product, then you probably accept credit cards, and then the credit card service company, they charge a merchant fee for that service, be it 1%, 2%, 3%. That is tax deductible. PayPal, other merchant services like Square and other ones, they charge a fee that is tax deductible. And number 13 is not for everybody, but if you live in a state that pays personal income tax, the state income tax is deductible in your federal return. So let's say, not in the state of Florida, because state of Florida doesn't have personal income tax, but let's say you live in the state of California, the state of New York, they pay state income tax and local income tax. So that portion of the state and local tax that you pay at the state and local level is deductible on the federal level to the IRS. So that's something to consider, and it helps because if you pay X amount of money for the state and local, that's a tax deduction for you at the federal level, so you save a little bit of money on the federal level. This is just 13 deductions, a summarized list of all the expenses. There's a lot more. I just thought of the ones that are most common with content creators and small businesses like ourselves, like me. So it's very summarized, but there is a publication, the IRS publication 535, which is more extensive. It gives you a more extensive list of tax deductions, but I find it very boring. So if you want to read it, go ahead and take a look into it. It gives you a general lot more knowledge of the tax deductions you can use. I hope my summarized list helps you. Did you think I missed any? Did any of them surprise you? You might not have been aware of some of them. Let me know in the comments down below if you think I should have included another one, or if you have any questions or comments about the 13 that I did mention. Again, like I always say, your questions, your comments, please feel free to leave them down below because I might answer it in a future episode. If you enjoyed this information and you like this topic, please consider subscribing and clicking on the bell to get notified of future episodes. If you missed my past episodes, I'm gonna leave them here so you could watch them now after this one if you're interested. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.